Welcome everyone, and I've got another creature feature for you today. This one is a practical effects filled blood fest that has an interesting story and is just a wild ride. We're looking at a Bakemono, and it is brought to us by Doug Ruse, who wrote and directed this film about a group. We see various characters staying overnight at a very rundown and cheap Airbnb. And yeah, everything at midnight starts to go haywire when creatures start showing up and people start wanting to kill their roommates. But why is this all happening? Well, the owner has a bit of a dark secret that he's been keeping from his family, and we see how these individuals who are staying at the Airbnb try to deal with these grotesque monsters who are attacking them, or their own roommates attacking them, all the while the owner seems to not care and just decides to clean up enough of the mess so that the next folks staying at the B&B won't notice the amount of blood and gore on the floor. Bakemono is a fantastically crafted story that you've got to pay attention to. The events that happen in this are out of order as far as the timeline goes. For the most part, things get closer together, as they do in these films, as you get closer to the end, so it makes more sense and all the pieces fall into place. But you gotta pay attention, and let me tell you, there's plenty here to pay attention to. Not only the performances by everyone involved, you got a large list of characters coming through here, and seeing their, how their characters turn and what happens to them when things get closer to midnight, I thought was really well done. You feel that tension, that anger, the overall just like, oh my Lord, they're doing that, the brutality of what's going on. And then we get the creature designs, which are just freaking frightening. All practical, gory effects. They're this weird shapes and designs and teeth in the head and extra mouth. You never really, at the beginning at least, get a full picture of what these things look like. Later on, as the film goes along, we get more of a picture, and let me tell you, doesn't help any. Still makes them creepy as hell. And I loved that. And it's all gooey and gory and visceral and just, oh, they put so much work into it, and they light it well so it looks creepy. And no seams or anything. It never comes off hokey. It comes off as scary. They accomplish that very well. Now, my favorite character in here is the Chris character played by Dominic Early. There's some wonderful performances by everyone, but him in particular, I really enjoyed. I loved everything about this character. Loved the performance. Love what they did with him in here. He gets some of the most tense moments, I will say. And yeah, the owner too is delightfully creepy here, and we do get his motivation of why he was doing what he was doing, and I'm glad we get that. There's enough. It's not fully laid out for you, but you can piece together enough from what he says in the conversations that are had of why this is going on. So they give you hints and bits and pieces, and when it comes to an end, you will breathe a sigh of relief that is over, because you will have felt that tension throughout most of the film, and definitely not for those faint at heart or don't get queasy at gore, because yeah, things get very bloody, messy, and disturbing, as you would want in a film like this. So kudos to Doug Ruse. You really got an effective horror film here, and I highly recommend it. Please keep an eye out for where it's going to be playing. I will put as much information as I can down below with this film. It recently premiered at a fest, and yeah, I keep an eye out for it because it is one to watch. Now, it is subtitled, so if you're kind of turned off by subtitles, well, then you're missing out on some great cinema. Let's just put it that way. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.